after done a lot of different other sorts of careers.
What kind of training did you receive, or did you just pick it up along the way?
Well, my mom really encouraged me to sew a lot in high school. In fact, one of her ways of motivating me was she said, I won't buy you all the clothes you want, but I will buy you as much fabric as you can sew and as much yarn as you can knit. Well, every teenager wants more clothes, so I, even a button-down collar shirt, she said, you can make that. Here's the fabric, here's the pattern. So I didn't have to make my own blue jeans, and it was a really big deal when she bought me a dress. But she really encouraged the development of my skills at that point, which was great. But since then, I feel like working with some of the other people and professional companies that I've worked with in town, although they were paying me to work, in a sense I was an apprentice because I could keep learning through them.
How do you find your clients?
Well, for me, each place has sort of been a connection from the previous place, and I think luckily I've made a good reputation for myself as being consistent, predictable, delivering on time, having a good eye for design. So even though I hadn't studied it in school, which I think is ideal, there's some great undergraduate programs and graduate schools that offer costume design. The fact that even though I don't have the degree in that way, that I've spent so much time learning along the way, it's prepared me for working. And then each place that I've worked, I've met someone else that has sort of led me by reputation to the next place. So it's been a great opportunity that way, and now here I'm teaching as an adjunct at Lipscomb University.
So what's the difference between designing for theater and designing for, say, TV?
Well, for TV, I haven't done designs per se, but when I've worked on something like Nashville Star, I'm usually helping make sure the contestants, their clothes fit, any alterations need doing, or if they actually have to be sewn into their clothes prior to going out. I'm there with the last stitches. But being around the stylists who tend to dress them, which is a whole different business in the music industry, they have to make sure that you don't have too many stripes, and especially with high definition TV, you have to worry about how that reacts with the television. The moire effect is something they worry about regularly. So I think plaids and stripes are the big concern with television that isn't an issue when you're doing live performance.
Mm-hmm. What skill sets do you feel are necessary to be in this field?
Well, I think if you're doing the sewing end of things and you're learning sewing, it requires a great deal of patience and attention to detail. On the other hand, there are many more jobs within the industry than just being a costume designer. And because I work in a relatively small shop and with a lot of academic situations, we don't have someone who's a separate cutter and someone who's a separate pattern maker and someone else to deal with wigs and so I have to essentially do it all. But I love that because there's always something new, always something different. Mm-hmm. There's always something to learn. And then there's a deadline, and because there's a deadline, the job ends and you can move on to the next one.
It was great to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. I have loved learning about costume design.
Thank you so much.
June was able to enter the field through her work experience. Nowadays, a 2- or 4-year degree in costumes, fashion, or production design is usually required. Plus, you'll need experience in the industry. Volunteering on school productions and local theater will give you that background now. Then you can do an apprenticeship or work as a wardrobe or costume design assistant. With hard work, creativity, and good sewing skills, one day you might be designing for the big stage. Interested in learning more about becoming a costume designer? Check out the link on today's episode synopsis at rl101.com. Looking for a part-time job or internship? Aha!